Hello and welcome to this video. Now we're going to look into data visualization. Now in earlier sections we have touched data visualizations when we worked with pivot tables and all that, but I want to take a step back to explain a little bit about what these data visualizations are. Now data visualization is basically a way to represent information graphically. And when you do this, you highlight patterns, you highlight trends within your data, and this will help whoever is going to consume that data to achieve the insights that they can get from that data a lot faster. Now, doing data visualization enables your users to be able to analyze your data by directly interacting with a visual that you have used to represent that data. So in summary, a data visualization is just a graphical representation of your information and your data. So now when you use elements like charts and graphs, when you're using elements like charts and graphs to make this data visualization, you provide an accessible way to see and to understand trends, to spot outliers, and to see patterns in your data. So there are different ways for you to go about creating visualizations in Excel. You can create your visualizations from ranges, from tables, or from pivot tables. So if you're just using a range like this, for example, let me come here, a range like this where we have, a range like this now, for example, you can just create a visualization from here. But there is also the pivot table where you create the pivot chart, where you create a pivot table either from a range like this or for a whole table, just like this table, and then you create charts there. And those charts are a lot better than the regular ones, because these regular ones, they have some limitations, like they don't do aggregations, and just like that, just the way it is done in your pivot table. So we're going to look at both of them to see how they both work, and we're going to try out building a few visuals with them. So we're going to look at as many some basic charts that are possible in Excel, and as we go through them, I'm going to try and explain their use case. So first off, let's look at a bar chart, which is what you have here, column or your bar chart. Now this is appropriate when you want to compare different categories. So for example, let's say you have revenue in different states. Here we have revenue for different product categories. So you can be able to show your total sales with a breakdown by a product category in this case, or let's say by city or by product name. So there are also, if you drop down here, you see that we have the regular column chart, then we have the stacked column chart, and we have the 100% stacked column chart. So those are the options you have there. So I'll just copy some info from here and put on a fresh page so that we can see an example of this bar chart being done. So I've gone ahead to just create a new sheet and just put some random data here. We have salespeople here and we have revenue here. So I want to just create my bar chart from here. So I'll come here, click on this, on my bar chart. Because I'm on this range, it automatically selects everything within that range. So we have our revenue by salesperson, and then our salespeople, we can see them here, Maria, Andrew, just as it is on the chart. If I come to this chart and I decide to sort this, largest to smallest, sort, you see it has affected the chart. So you see the chart is connected to whatever range that it was made from. So I sorted this from largest to smallest, and it has sorted it also for me, where I have Andrew Cicini as the largest, what I have here, and then Nancy Freehalfer as the smallest that I have here. So there are a lot of formatting that you can do on these charts. I'm not going to go into that just yet. I just want to show you the charts that are possible. So remember, I said the bar charts is when you want to compare different categories or parameters. So you want to like see what was the total sales or the breakdown for products or regions. In this case, we have salespersons, we have revenues. So of course you can also make a bar. That was a column chart. Of course you can also make it a bar instead of a column chart like this. So you can have a bar chart here. So still the same thing where we said it helps you to compare different categories together. So that's basically how a bar chart is done. You can go ahead and format this the way you want. Like I said, we won't go into the formatting so much. So next, let's look at the second type of chart that is possible with your regular Excel ranges, and then that will be a line chart. Now, a line chart is appropriate if you are interested in seeing growth patterns over time. So, for example, you want to see your revenue growth over time. You want to see your profits growth over time. Whatever metric you want to see how it's changed over time, the line chart is used to show that trend. So let's see an example of using a line chart. So I've gone ahead to create a simple table to illustrate a line chart. So here we have a revenue for different months in a year. Let's go to year 2014. So in a year 2014, these are the revenues for all the months. So we want to put this in a line chart to see, okay, what were the changes that occurred over time. So to do that, we come here and we can select the line charts. And when you do that, let me change the way it looks so that we could just see a different view. So when you do that, you can see here now that, okay, in January we had a rise in February, and February the revenue tanked down up until September. And September we saw another spike from September to October, and after October it crashed back again. So whatever happened in February and October, we might need to replicate it again for this particular data. So that's it about the line chart. It helps you to see the trend and the changes over time. So if you're trying to work with time data, you are better off using a line chart. Another chart that is possible in Excel I will look at again is the pie chart or the donut chart. So let me just create a sample data set that we'll use for the pie chart example. So a pie chart basically, or a donut chart also, they show the relative contribution of parameters to a whole. So the percentage of, for example, the percentage of beverages, the whole is the sum of all of this. So the percentage of beverages, dried fruits, baked goods and all this, what percentage are they contributing to the whole? So to do that, let's just select this range and come and select the pie chart. And when we put this, you see that we have, and put it there. Design. Okay. All right. So you see that we have a pie chart here from this, where we have all of this. I can change this. I want the legend to be somewhere else, so come here. Left, right. Okay, like it this way. So you see that what is the percentage contribution of all these two? Is if I put a data label, I can see that there. and saying that, okay, this is this, this is that, this is that, and this is that. So I can go ahead to, if I want to see this in percentage, I can go ahead to find what the total of this, the sum of this is, and then maybe do a formula, and then maybe create a formula that will show me the percentage of total here. So let me just quickly do that. So I've gone ahead to create these calculations. Now what I have here is this divided by this. So what it gives me, I set it as a percentage, and then absolutely referencing this in our formula. So if you look here, absolutely referencing C10, same thing here, while these other values are moving down. So now I want to, if I come and I click on this, you see that this is my legend and these are my values. I'm just going to shift these values here. So now you see, instead of having those numbers, I actually have the percentages here. So I can clearly see that 23%, which is dried fruits, is my highest contributing category to my total revenue. So that's that about the pie charts. The next chart we're going to take a look at is the histogram. I've gone ahead to create another table here. I just have my categories and then some prices here, random figures. This was generated by using the random figures between 50 and 100. So I want to just see the distribution. So around using a histogram, you'll be able to see the distribution of some values. So I want to see what's the distribution of my figures, what range of figures do most of my figures fall in between. So to do that, I just come and select the histogram, select my range, go to insert, come here. This is the histogram here. Once I click on this, I have this here. So here, most of my values are, let me format this. I don't like it this slow. Hold on. Okay. Now, so most of my values fall between $51 and $72. I have 8 of my values falling there. I have just 3 of my values falling between $72 and $93, and then for $93 up to $114 and above, I have just 1 point there. If I should refresh it, because these are random figures that I put here, so it refreshes every time. If I just go outside and click Ctrl R, should refresh. Okay, it's now refreshing. It should refresh. Okay, let me do the function again. You don't see, run between 50 and 100, 150. Okay. Yeah, do it 100. Okay, so now let me see. Alright, it's refreshing the way I want it to. So see now, I have here, it's showing me that 7 of my data points fall between $72.94. I have about 4 falling between 50 to 72, and above 94, I have just 1 data point. If I refresh this again, see that I'm having changes all over there. So now I want to show you something. This figure that I have, let me refresh this. Now this figure that I have here, it's possible for me to increase the number of bins. These are called bins. So I'm looking at the number of values within a range, which is a bin. So now if I want to, I'm not okay with these 3. Let's say I want to see them in 5 bins. I just come here, then I'll go to axis, and then when I click here, go to more axis options. Once I click on that, you come here to this part, axis options, you click on that, drop the axis option, then you see where you have bins. So there are a couple of ways to do it. I like to just select by number of bins. So if I select that I need 5 bins and click enter, you see that it gives me 5 bins. So 4 of my points fall between 53 to 62, and then the remaining fall in between. Just two of the points fall in between the other bins. If I put 4 points, let me put 4, I'll see. Okay, so still 4 of my points there, and the rest are distributed the way they should be. Put 7 bins here, you see what I have. I have 3 of my points falling between 60 and 62, then 2 of my points falling between 53 and 60, and here, while the rest we just have 1 point in there. So that's something that you can do with the bins. It's very, very useful. If I refresh this, so you can see it change and see that I have my bins changing based on the data that it's getting from this chart. So that's how you work with a histogram. Of course, this is just to show you distribution of your data points. Another kind of visualization you can use to see distribution, not exactly distribution anyway, you can see relationships between your data points is the scatter chart or the bubble chart. So let me just show you an example of how to create a bubble chart in Excel. So I've gone ahead to just create 2 columns here where I have discounts given and then the price of those commodities. So I want to just see the relationship between these 2 figures. So I select the range, I come to my insert, and then I select my bubble chart or scatter chart, and then once I click on that, I have this. Let me put it this way. No. Okay, prefer it this way. So I have my scatter chart here. So I'll be able to, if I plot a line of best fit, I'll be able to know, is there a relationship with an increase in my discount? Was there an increase in my price, or with a decrease in the discount, did it affect my price positively or negatively? So that's the idea behind a scatter chart. So basically, a scatter chart will help you to see if there are any relationships between your continuous variables in your data. Now, the final type of chart I want to show you is the tree map. Now, the tree map it shows you the relative contribution, but unlike your pie chart that fits everything into a circle, the tree map will fit everything into a resizable rectangle. So let me show you an example of this. Okay, I've gone ahead to create these 3 columns I have here. One is for the states, so I have just 4 states here. I have Lagos, FCT, Niger, and Plateau states. These are states in Nigeria. And then I have some districts. I just want to call them districts within the states. So we have in Lagos, we have this 4. In Abuja, we have this 4. In Niger, we have this 4. And in Plateau, we have this 3. So, and this is the revenue coming out of those districts for the states. So now I want to view this in a tree map. I remember I said a tree map shows you relative contribution in a resizable rectangle instead of a square, like instead of a circle, like a pie chart. So come on insert, click on tree map, and look what I have here. Let me bring this up a little bit so you can see it. So look what I have here. For Lagos, I have Ikeja, Lekki, Ikorodu, Ikoton. So the blue, which you see here, represents Lagos. Now in that Lagos, I have different rectangles depending on the sizes of their contribution. So for Lagos, for example, the biggest is Ikorodu, and if you look here, you can tell that Ikorodu is the largest here, followed by Ikotun, which is the largest. And if you look at the smallest is Ikeja, and see that Ikeja's rectangle is the smallest that we have. If we look at FCT we have 4 there, and then we have 5, 5, 5, and 2, and see they look pretty much the same. Where we have, okay, no, this is FCT, this is Nigeria, sorry, this is FCT. So you see that I have Dobi 5, Amak 5 million, Kwali 5 million, the smallest being Kuje, obviously, with $2.4 million. Then we have Nigeria, where we have this 4, where we have Boso being, the highest is GK, which is this. Then Boso is the next, and then we have Bida and TDF, who are the smallest. Then we have in this plateau, we have the highest being Mangu, which is this, and the smallest being Jos, which is this. Now, if I just refresh this, remember this, I created this using the run between 100,000, yes, and 1 million, and 10 million, between 100,000 and 10 million. So, no matter what I do, this will keep refreshing the figures for me. So if I keep refreshing this, you see that the figures are changing based on what I have there. So let me see what I have here now. Look at Lagos. The highest is now Lekki. So where is Lagos? The highest is now Lekki. No, is it Kotun? Is a cartoon, that's the highest. In FCT, the highest is now Kuje. So let's look at FCT, you see Kuje is the highest. In Nigeria, the highest is now TDF. And we look at Nigeria, TDF is the highest now. And in Jos, the highest is, in Plateau, the highest is Jos. So we see Jos having the biggest triangle. So I can say that the tree map is a donut chart, but instead of being in a circle, it is in a square. Sorry, in a rectangle. Now, there are a couple of other visuals that are charts and graphs that are possible using your regular Excel ranges, where you get to select the range and then just choose the charts that you want and populate it, just like we have done all through here for our histogram, our pie charts, our scatter charts, and the rest of them. So now I want to show you the other way. Remember, I said that we are going to create our charts using both the ranges, and then we'll work with using the pivot tables. Now, the pivot charts, they help you to create a summarized version of your charts. So in all these charts we did, most of them, for example, in our bar charts, with our column chart here, we just had unique figures here and this here. We didn't have, if we had like this here now, let me put this here and just copy some of these figures here also, put it down here. So you see what's going to happen if we try to create a bar chart from this. Now, I'll be expecting that I will see some summarization. So I would like to see where Maria Segienko and Maria Segienko, instead of showing me different values, you should just sum this up and give me the aggregated value and put that in one category here. But I see them appearing both sides, and that's not what I want for this. So the way to go about this will be to use a pivot table. So the pivot table, you'll be able to create your pivot charts. So let's go ahead and create a pivot chart here. So I'll just come here, select the range I want, come to pivot charts. So I click on that, it asks me select the range. I've already selected the range, so it already does that for me. Click on a new worksheet and I have this layout here. So remember what we have done for our pivot tables and charts in earlier videos. Just Same principle. I move my salesperson to my axis. Here, I move my revenue to my values and see what it gives me. So if you notice the difference between this and if I had done this with the regular, let me create the regular one. Pie charts. Now look at the difference. The difference here is that even though I have just about, there are 8 salespersons, even though the figures were repeated. Let me make it more, 100 to 600. I want to make the figures to be more unique. Okay, yeah. So now instead of me having a, for example, this and this adds up to 284. So but I'm having on my chart, I'm having them separately. So I'm having 104 here, and if you look here, I'm having this 180 here. But if you come to my pivot chart, you see I have it here. Okay, I have to refresh this. Let me refresh this because I have changed the data from the source. So I will just refresh this, and now see I have 284, which is this here, 284. It matches with what is the sum of these two. So that's the awesome thing about pivot charts. Pivot charts helps you, and pivot tables also, they help you to summarize your data, giving it different views. So for example, from this our pivot chart, where's the pivot chart? From this pivot chart, we can go ahead and change our chart type. For example, let me say I want to look at this in a pie chart instead. So you see it shows me a pie chart. I can see my data in a pie chart if I want to, and it shows me the contribution of each salesperson to a whole. Now this is not something that you'll be able to do if you were just using your regular charts, because the way you select the ranges will determine how it puts it for you. But here we have access to almost everything, and there are some charts that you can't use. For example, the scatter charts. You can't use the tree map and sunburst, and you can use a couple of other ones, histogram and the rest of them. So, but the ones you most likely be using, the column charts, the line charts, and all that, pie charts, bar charts, area charts are available for from your pivot chart options. So that's something for you to take note of. So in the next video, we're going to look at how to do some calculations with these pivot tables and build some visuals, and ultimately we're going to do a full dashboard that has many visuals there, and it has slicers also that are responsive. I'll see you in that video.